The dilemma is we have to somehow counteract what we think is a natural response, the need to fight it or flight it or freeze or please, and instead we got to learn to sit in it and talk through it.
Sit and talk. Last week, KSL contributor Dr. Matt Townsend shared 3 myths about conflict that keep people from having the hard but important conversations. Today, he is back with 3 more. Matt, reestablish for us, why do we really put off having those tough, hard conversations? We just don't dive into them like we should.
It's everyone else. Everyone else is causing
They're the problem.
If they would just all think like you, this wouldn't be a problem. The problem is just our natural being, right? We want to fight or flight the the conflict. But the problem is I'm trying to be married to this person, or I'm trying to raise them as my children. So if I start to turn on my survival, then we're never going to kind of cut through this and create a healthier long-term relationship. So it really is just fight, flight. It's your survival that makes conflict nearly impossible for a lot of us.
So what do you gain there from by leaning in and engaging and trying to have those hard conversations?
One of the weirdest things, if you just sit in it long enough and you don't like get caught up in the fight, in about 90 seconds the tension goes away. The emotion dissipates, and now you can actually grow together. It's actually, we can co-regulate by sitting in these fights a little longer, these arguments, and then finding a healthier way to handle it means we don't have to run so much.
Yeah, it's just so quick to react. So you point out that people, they don't really understand conflict, so that's why they jump into this where they think, you know, talking it out, that's the key. That's got to be it.
And by the way, about 70% of the time, women are the ones that are going to want to talk it out first. They're like going to push on that talk. But the cool thing about that is it gets the conversation going. But the myth is talking about the problems fixes the problems.
And that's not true.
I've never seen that happen. I've never seen a healthy relationship solve problems by just bringing up all the problems. At some point, you got to talk about what works, what's worked in the past, and talk about what you'd like to see happen. So a solution. Solutions usually solve problems, especially if we can convey them to each other, and then if we can kind of lose the ego and deliver on the solution, that will almost always make it easier to talk about than the problem itself.
So not rehashing?
Don't rehash.
Okay, don't remember back in 2020?
Yeah.
So I was thinking if you mention the solution, sometimes the other person doesn't want to hear solutions.
That's exactly. They don't
listen.
Which means they may not actually want to solve it. A lot of us would rather just keep doing the pattern so we don't have to be vulnerable. But what we want to do is learn to sit in the vulnerability and solve stuff.
And then some people think that if we just let it go, then that's going to be good.
That's about 70% of men tend to want to run from that conversation statistically. And so that is simply the idea that running from it doesn't create peace. So a lot of people just immediately try to get away from the fight because that'll create the peace. If you need to do that to kind of eliminate the tension, then we've got to come back and learn to talk. The dilemma is we don't know how to sit in the tension. And as long as you don't know how to sit in the tension, you either have to fight it, which makes it worse, or you run from it, which makes it worse. They're the same thing. They're just opposite ends. It's a lose-lose. It's all just survival. Instead, we sit, we talk.
And you're saying that our problems are unique and unfixable.
Well, everybody thinks that. Like, well, that's a neat idea, Matt, but you don't know our problem. But having done this for like 30 years, I think I've heard almost everything. And I've never actually heard a lot of new problems, because the real problems aren't what we talk about. The real problems are the deeper issue, like, am I lovable? Am I capable? Do I belong? Am I safe? If those needs aren't being addressed and instead we're fighting about the laundry, and why did you pick me up when you said you were going to pick me up? That's what I call the smoke. But those other issues, lovable, capable, belonging, and safe, everybody wants those. So there's this unique thing that you're not as special as you think. You're just human. And
not something Mom would tell you.
I know, that's not what we want to say.
Very special.
Yeah, but the deal is once we actually get through it a little bit and create some unity and connection, the next one's even easier to have. Once you actually break that barrier of the tension, you can do this every time you have a conflict without it going sideways.
What's the bottom line here?
Bottom line, we got to learn to sit in the tension. You got to learn. If you don't know how to manage conflict, you've got to start studying it. If you know you run too much or you know you fight too intensely, you've got to learn to back it down and manage your emotion before you get into the conversation.
You talked about male and female, but I was just curious with these incidents when it comes to age.
Yeah.
Like dealing with younger people, older adults. Yeah. How does that shake out?
Well, we do have our generational differences too, right, and our expectations. So what I usually have found is the #1 way, instead of bringing all your expectations, just start with curiosity. If they're doing something you're not quite understanding, say, you know what, I'm old. I don't understand what you're doing. Help me understand why you do it that way.
Just blame it on age.
That's it. Blame it on
I can't
age.
hear it. I can't see it. You know?
Just help me understand. Get curious is the ultimate goal.
Where do we get more relationship advice from you?
MattTownsend.com. We have a great program called Becoming One, where we teach you every week. We have a program where you can learn how to become one with the people you love the most.
We appreciate you.
MattTownsend.com.
A joy and pleasure. I appreciate you sitting with us in this.
Yes.
No tension, no tension. That's right.
We're practicing.
Thanks, guys.